Well, good morning folks, and welcome to another scenery review. This is the second scenery released by Fsdg, the Flight Sim Development Group, and today we're looking at Enfidha International Airport in Tunisia. Fsdg described this as a light scenery, which is why they've priced it a little bit lower. I've had a look around this airport, and to be honest, there's a lot I like about it, but there's also a lot that I don't like in it. Let me say straight off the bat, the light sceneries I think were a good idea in P3D and FSX. They're not such a good idea with the new Flight Sim 2020 because the scenery options available to show are so much better. They have done the airport here, and you've got everything you need as a pilot, and that's great, and the airport matches exactly what it should be. But there's such a lack of detail here. I understand what they mean when they say this is a light scenery and they don't put an amount of effort in because it's a light scenery. But I just happen to think that the light scenery is just not a good idea. At the end of the day, people want a realistic airport to fly into and out of. And they've done the bare minimum here. There really is not an awful lot of detail. There is in some spots, but generally there aren't all over the place. But anyhow, let's have a look. So this is Enfidha International Airport in Tunisia, Delta Tango November Hotel. It's the light version, it's payware, by the Flight Sim Development Group for Flight Sim 2020. The download is 162 megabytes and it installs into your community folder at 396 megs. Price is €11.90. which equates to $12.93 US, or £9.95 United Kingdom. Now these prices include tax or VAT at 19% if you purchase from Fsdg's online website, but that amount may vary depending on your country of purchase, so be prepared for changes. You can buy it now, it's available from the Fsdg online store, fsdg-online.com, or you can buy it from Sim Market, and again on Sim Market the price is slightly higher. And if you watch my recent video on the other Fsdg scenery that was released, ACCRA, you'll know that I mentioned the installation procedure. Fsdg have this strange installation procedure. They seem to be unable to identify the community folder using an installer, so they have an install batch file which you must run first to locate your community folder before the installation routine runs. Now if you purchased ACCRA, Fsdg do say that if you've successfully installed ACCRA, you don't need to run the batch file because the Fsdg ini file, which resides on your computer, now knows where the community folder is. However, it didn't work for me. I installed ACCRA and suddenly found I couldn't install Enfidha. Hopefully you won't have that problem, but it's just something to be aware of. So once again, let's start with some history, another airport with a little bit of interesting history behind it. Enfidha International Airport is located in Enfidha in Tunisia, some 25 miles or 40 kilometers from the town of Hammamet. It's a modern airport and caters mostly for European tourists who are visiting the country. Tunisia plays host to a large part of the Sahara Desert, which itself draws many visitors and tourists each year. In 2004, the Tunisian government decided to build on the airport on a 6,500 hectare site at Enfidha. The result would be a state-of-the-art international airport complex with first-class shopping, restaurants, entertainment facilities and services for airlines and passengers. More importantly, the airport was to be situated at Enfidha in the northeast of the country, about 48 miles or 80 kilometers south of the capital Tunis, but in the middle of a major tourist region. The planning and design had been completed by 2001, but unfortunately due to a combination of circumstances, including a breakdown in negotiations over the terms of building the airport, problems in raising the funding and political manoeuvring, the airport was never built and the project was shelved. During 2005 and 2006, the project was revived by the Tunisian government, which was eager to complete the new airport under a Build, Operate, Transfer, or BOT, basis with a 40-year concession. The airport was finally opened for operations in December 2009. The former Tunisian president, Zine El Abidine Ben Ali, was keen for the project to be completed before he sought a fifth term in office after the 2009 elections. The airport was originally named after Ben Ali as the Enfidha Zine El Abidine Ben Ali International Airport. It was renamed as Enfidha Hammamet Airport in January 2011, following the Tunisian revolution which ended his regime. Tunisian government decided that the new airport would not be as luxurious as originally planned. Demands for the costly state-of-the-art facility was seen as a discouragement to potential bidders, since the airport serves mainly tourist charter flights. Nowadays, the new Enfidha airport helps to ease the passenger and goods traffic that passes through Tunis, Fsdg and Monastir airports. The airport is conveniently located to serve the tourist regions of Yasmin, Hammamet and Port El Kantaroui near Herga, Nebouel and Sousse, as well as the towns of Tunis, Sfax, Biziet and Kharoun. Not sure I pronounced those right, but I'll put the names up for you. Aéroports de Paris, or ADP, completed the design of the new international airport Enfidha in the final quarter of 2001 in a contract worth $9.6 million. TAP Afken Aventuras of TAV was selected as a lead contractor for the airport. TAV Tunisia was established in May 2007 to operate the Enfidha and Monastir airports for the next 40 years as part of a €563 million contract. Project received funding from Standard Bank, Lagos State and African Development Bank. The terminal has been designed as a square diamond with the point of which directed towards the landing strips. The 90,000 square metre terminal building is covered with a light roof in the shape of giant wings. The airport includes a 72,000 square metre open apron area with capacity to accommodate 18 aircraft. The remote apron, which measures 57,000 square metres, can handle 14 aircraft. The airport finally opened for business in December 2009. Building costs were around €436 million, or roughly $474 million US. The airport is served by over 15 different airlines, with some 1.4 million passengers using the airport in 2019. And just as a side effect here, one of the other things I do like about this airport, as you can see, is the location. It's a really interesting location right by the sea. In MS 2020 here, the location looks really good. And as I said at the beginning of this piece, doing a light scenery in a project like this, such a nice location, really sort of begs the question why. But that's just my opinion. Yours may be different. Okay, runways. As you can see, I've lowered the lighting and we're looking down the throat of runway 27. So the airport operates a single runway 0927, which is 10,827 feet or 3,300 meters long, and again is made from asphalt like most runways are. Both ends of the runway featured a standard instrument landing system option, as well as VOR approach options as well. Enfidha has a preferential runway system in operation subject to local conditions. Runway 27, that we're looking at the moment, is preferred for landing, and the other end, runway 209, is preferred for takeoffs, again subject to local conditions. Runway 27 features high intensity airfield lighting system version 2, as you can see we have it here, and precision approach path indicators, the single one on the left side of the runway. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 09. Runway 09 features a high intensity airfield lighting system version 1 and precision approach path indicators, again on the left side of the runway. Here you can see the precision approach path indicators, and unfortunately they've installed high intensity airfield lighting system version 2 exactly like the other end of the runway. This should be version 1, which is a shorter lighting system as per the chart. But I'm not going to quibble about that. As I've said in many other reviews, if they enhance landing lighting more than what's on the chart, then as a pilot flying in there in the simulator, it's going to help you make your approach safely. Okay, so Enfidha Hammamet International Airport by the Flights and Development Group, or Fsdg. We've had a look at the runways and we talked about it generally, and there you've had some history. Let's get down and dirty now and have a close-up look at what's available to see and see exactly what detail has been included and what's missing. So first thing I want to do is just test the jetways to see if they work. Let's see if I can get this to link up to the aircraft. So the jetway's working. And as you can see, it hasn't quite met the aircraft. But yep, no problem. At least it works. Now here on the stand you can have a look at some of the detail, which is really good. You can see that the jetway itself, it looks good. They've got the glass here, it's weathered. The stairs work here. Control boxes. TAV is the company that operates the airport on behalf of the government. The stand number. Basically the airport ramp on the stand looks pretty good. This is my aircraft that's parked there. But as you can see, there are one or two little anomalies. Here you can see the stairwell actually goes down into the ground, which is a pity, but it may well just be a jetway issue. And again, here's just a quick look around the ramp to show you what's going on here. They've got the usual clutter. It looks quite good here. And you've got a fuel truck. This looks fine, and you can see the airside road is well marked as well. And you can also see from this shot a number of things here. They've got your taxiway centre lines, the concrete areas done, fuel points, the safe area, some other bits and pieces, the stairs going round to the block building here. Also got static aircraft. These two aircraft, I don't have them in my community folder or as part of it, so these are statics that must be included. And again, if you look at the taxiways, the ramp itself, again the markings are pretty good. So just looking from above, here's the terminal building that we discussed in the history there. It's very unique the way it's done, and as you can see, it's facing towards the runways. If I go behind it, and there you go, as per the description, the wings, as it were, these two sides here, everything faces the airport runway itself. So we're looking towards the threshold of 27 there. Yeah, I mean the scene looks really quite nice, but there really is a distinct lack of detail. Again, we've got a lot of use of low resolution photo scenery, and at ACCRA it works really well. Here probably not so much. So here, just looking at the car park, you know, it doesn't seem to work very well, to be honest. Nice little trees planted everywhere. The foliage looks really good. And you've got the coaches here that are nicely modelled, and strangely enough they're really nicely weathered, which is quite unusual. It's very different to the ones we saw in the ACCRA scenery. But as you can see there, they look quite good. Okay, they're a bit boxy, but they're okay, even though they do seem to be right in the middle of this here. There's a lot of little design issues I've encountered, quite apart from the jetway that sinks into the tarmac on airside. You've got little problems like this, which attention to detail isn't quite as up to standard. So a quick look at the front of the terminal here. We're up on the upper departures level. Looks reasonable. The detail here is not quite as high resolution as it probably should be, being this close to the terminal in terms of development. Nice to see some cars parked up there closely. And the airport itself here, the Landside area, has been done quite nicely with the name in English and in Arabic. And the building looks quite weathered. And there, looking in the other direction, you can see this illusion of things going on inside the terminal here through the glass, and you've got TAV, the name of the airport company that operates it. But again, in low resolution, not really terribly sharp. So there, we're just looking across the ramp towards the runway 09 threshold in the distance. Here you've got the ramp. There's additional parking stands here. We'll go over here in a minute and have a look at the rest of it. We've got the VIP terminal, general aviation apron in the far distance. But on the plus side, as you can see, we've come up a bit. The scenery surrounding the airport actually looks quite good. It fits really well, and just shows this airport in the light that it should be. It's in a lovely location, another interesting place to fly into, and as you can see, as you come up quite high, the photo scenery looks better and works a bit better. But you can see here the car park and everything still looks terribly bland. There's just not enough detail really, unfortunately. And here's another high level view, just looking towards the threshold of runway 27. Here is the control tower, and again the location looks really nice. It's very, one thing I have discovered is that the coastline in Tunisia and down on the African west coast, when I looked at ACCRA, looks really good. The detail's much more than I expect, and it adds to the location. And this airport is a good airport in a nice location. It's just really doing a light version, for just realistically with respect to the guys at Fsdg, just doesn't work for me. There needs to be more. Anyway, let's get down low and have a look at a few interesting things. Before we do, let me just tell you that there is no internal development in the control tower, nor in the terminal either, as you'd expect with their light scenery. So here we are looking at the threshold of runway 27 at the other end of the airport. Here you've got the fuel farm. Again, this is all just buildings stuck on photo scenery with very little in terms of building development. They're there, but that's really it. I'm stuck right on the lagoon here. So while we're here, just a quick look at the approach into runway 27. Here you've got taxiway signs which look quite good. Now this says category 2-3 hold. Now according to the charts, the instrument landing system is a standard Cat 1 ILS, so not too sure why these are here. I don't know, maybe I'm getting that wrong. Perhaps somebody in the comments could explain to me why you have a Cat 2-3 hold on a runway that's not Cat 2-3 certified. But there you go. But again, you can see you've got the blue edge lights, the taxiway signs here in the daylight, and the ground markings are all excellent, no problem at all. So we're going to take a quick run westbound towards the other end of the airport, just passing over the airport here. Below this there is that was the fire station. There are no fire engines to show. The building is there, but it's pretty blank. On the right is the cargo apron coming up. Here you can see additional aircraft stands. While we're here, let's just stop and have a quick look. As you can see, the basic block building, but very little to write home about in terms of design. Now we continue here. You've got the general aviation apron on the right here. This is where most of the general aviation aircraft park. And here's the VIP apron right next to the runway. And again, a basic block weathered building with little development done at all, really. Got the helicopter landing spot there whenever they bring VIPs in for a helicopter to transfer to an aircraft. Again, low resolution ground textures here. I get the feeling this will probably look better at dusk in the darkness than it does in the day. So here we're looking at the approach to runway 09. Again, just looking at signage on the ramp. This is the preferred runway for takeoffs. 27 is preferred for landing. Again, you've got these Cat 2-3 ILS holding points, and to say standard ILS. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. I might have got it wrong. On the plus side, which you don't find at too many sceneries, they do have signage for exiting the runway. So here, although this is the approach point, if somebody does a long landing right to the very end, you know, you've got exit signs, which helps the pilot identify where he is, and that's good. That's really good. There's so many airports where the signs are only one-sided. So a quick look down runway 09. As I said, this is for takeoff. Here's the ILS box, which you would expect because it contains the ILS equipment for the landing on 27 at the other end there. So there you go, there's a quick overview of the airport during the daytime. I've not spent a lot of time because, as I said, all the buildings are fairly straightforward, very little if any work developed on at all. The terminal's been developed a little bit, not inside, but as you can say, as we saw on the Landside roads, they were looking, though at least they've developed that a little bit. And the airport is complete in its entirety, which is another plus. Yeah, it's a lovely little airport scenery, looks really good. So let's lower the lighting now to dusk and let's have a look and see what it looks like at dusk. Okay, it's 10 minutes to 7 in the evening local time, and as you can see, we've dropped the lighting down, the sun's gone down, and the lights start to come on the airport. So just a quick look from the threshold there of 09, looking at the runway and the taxiways general. Looks pretty reasonable. The runway's nicely lit, centerline lighting as well, which wasn't shown on the chart, and you've got the end identifier lights. Here you can see some of the blue taxiway edge lights, and the signs are lit as well. So let's get up to the terminal and see what the ramp's like. Okay, just a quick look here at the stand where my aircraft is parked. As you can see, you've got good lighting, lighting the areas that it should do. The source lighting is really good. The building here, as you can see, there's literally no lighting inside, no attempt to sort of show any kind of facade. Control tower is completely dark. And just a quick look towards the other side here, you can see various buildings that aren't lit at all, unfortunately. There's some lighting here, and there seems to be some lighting landside. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And looking in the other direction there, you can see taxiway lighting. The boundary lights are okay, they look good. You shouldn't have any problem taxiing around here. I can't see any green entry lights, but we might see them when we go to night mode. We'll have a look. Lighting in general looks okay, but like I said, so many buildings here not lit in any way, shape or form, and for me it just doesn't work. I repeat, I understand their concept of a light scenery, but it really is not helpful when you've got the abilities that Flight Sim 2020 has for display here. There's a nice little shot here showing the airside road. The markings are quite crisp. You see, they've done this road really in much higher resolution. It looks better. The same really should have been done landside, in my opinion. Glass is quite nice. There's a nice glass effect here. You got the airport sign. Why don't you just go inside here and see what the effect is looking out. Right, as you can see, the glass is just the facade. There's no option for looking out per se. No effect at all, really. Nice to see some models on the ramp that are accurate. LSG Sky Chefs is one of the operators at Enfidha that handles a lot of their catering. Dtnh usually do it in so many other airports. Here you got Swissport, a power unit, so that looks good. Here's a nice look at the building here with the stairs coming down. This is where the dispatcher would come out. So this looks quite nice. As I said, lots of little attention to detail here, but so much is missing. And looking in the other direction, as you can see, it looks nice. It looks pleasant enough. Just there's so much more that could have been done, really, to just improve this. But as I said at the start of this, the airport, you have the airport in its entirety. All the landing systems work, the lighting works, so you should have, as a pilot, you have all the ability you need to land here safely, park up safely as well. Okay, here we are landside, looking at the terminal approach that we looked at earlier. Good thing is the light sources are correct, they're lighting up the correct area, which is good. But again, a real shame that the building itself is just totally dark. And again, looking in the other direction, same problem. Real pity. So here's a general view looking at the terminal from landside across the car park. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of the older Sobo globes. We seem to have lights here that work, which is a good thing. And as I said, the road here is lit up. Car park lighting is adequate. That's really all I can say about it. Again, you can see even in the dusk, the low resolution car park just doesn't really work for me. I mean, it's okay, but it just doesn't really work. But then as a pilot, it's not something you're going to be involved in. But in terms of buying a scenery and exploring what goes in and around it, you're a little bit stumped here. So we're just moving up towards the west here. Just want to have a look at this area and see what there is. Low resolution, yeah, but there's lots of lighting here. Okay, it's a couple of Asobo globes there. But it would appear, look, that the stanchion lights work. That's a really good thing. It's just really strange that they put the effort in to do that, but they've completely not bothered with the terminal. So here's the cargo area landside, and as again you can see the lights work, but the building basically has just not been done. So we continue towards the general aviation area and the additional parking. Okay, once again the lighting's adequate. Again, you've got the blue airfield edge lights, so you won't have any problem taxiing around. As we approach the VIP building, as you can see, it's totally dark. Just a real pity. So much more could have been done, you know, but there you go. Okay, so there it was at dusk. The lighting, the airport does look a little bit better at dusk, I have to say. The subtle lighting looks quite good. But again, we're talking about so much that hasn't been lit that would make this better. Anyway, let's drop it right down to night time now and see if there's any improvement. Okay, so 9:15 at night. As you can see, we're totally in the darkness, and the lighting indeed has come up a bit. Let's look at the positives. Okay, runway is well lit here. Centerline lighting, approach lighting, you can see there. Plenty of blue airfield boundary lights, so you shouldn't have any problem taxiing. We don't see any green centerline lights. Again, this may be the situation at the real airport, I don't know. But given the huge amount of blue airfield edge lighting and the fact that you'll have your nose gear light on when you leave the runway, you shouldn't have much of a problem taxiing off and finding your way. Signage is also well lit here. You've got entry signs and the exit signs I mentioned earlier, all well lit. So here we are looking down towards the other direction, and here's the cargo area here, which you've got the ramp lit, general aviation apron and the VIP terminal, and again runway 09 threshold looking quite good and bright. So let's go up close to the terminal again and see how that looks in the darkness. Okay, quick overview here of the central terminal, the main terminal. As you can see, when it gets to darkness, we do get some little effect coming on here, which makes this look a little bit better. Not a huge improvement, but it does bring it to life a little bit more. Looking at the ramp areas, again, well lit. You're not going to have any problems finding your way parking in here. And again, with the plethora of blue edge lights, taxiing around is going to be fairly easy in the dark. Control tower, no lighting at all, so you can't even see the top of it. Usually, given the height of the tower, there should be a red light on top of that. Unfortunately, there isn't. So just a low level shot, so you can see a close-up look at the ramp here. You can still see the markings. The lighting's good enough for that. There's your blue edge lights. You can still see the taxiway centre line this close, so the airport lighting's quite good. And you've got your signage here to denote the stand numbers. Let's just do a slow pan around the airport main terminal going towards Landside. Have a look at the lighting generally. Okay, Landside of the terminal there looks a lot better because it's lit up now. It's showing some kind of effect, which is good. It's a good thing. Coming out towards the control tower now, we begin to see it. But as you can see, little or no lighting. It's only when you get up really close that you get this effect here where you can see something's going on. But as I said, given the height of this structure, there should be a red light on top of here. So let's just head across the car park towards the terminal Landside. Lighting's much better. Still some Asobo globes around. But as you can see, when you get close to the terminal, it comes alive a little bit more because of the way this is designed to work in low light. Would have been nice to see much more development done during the daytime. But there we go. So there's a look across the ramp from Landside to Airside. Main runway in the distance. And in the other direction. So let's bring the lighting up to dawn and see what it looks like. So 5:45 in the morning, as you can see, the light, the sun is beginning to come up. This is in the low light. Not an awful lot of difference from dusk. But as I said before, the airport's in a nice location. And but a very attractive place to fly to, in my opinion. So let's bring it up to daylight and see where we are. Okay, 6:30 in the morning, the sun's well up now, and here we're looking at the airport itself, bathed in the early morning sunrise. So, let's wrap up this review fairly quickly. Let's have a chat and talk about some of my thoughts. First, on the positive side. It's a nice airport. Has everything you need as a pilot going into and out of this airport. When you land here, you can find your way to the terminal. It has the facilities for you to park up. Okay, the jetways have got a problem. They don't link up to the aircraft properly and they kind of descend into the tarmac, but maybe that can be fixed, I don't know. But everything you need to fly into and out of here at all times of the day or night is fine. There are little things that they've done that make this really nice. As I said, exit signs from the runway, which many sceneries don't seem to have, are there, which is a good thing. The approach lighting navigational aids are pretty close to the real charts, but they've got a little bit more than the charts. Again, I'm not complaining about that, it's brilliant. And overall, the airport sits in a nice location, and it would have been nice really to see this developed a lot more. On the negative side, well, like I said at the beginning of this review, for me, FS Lite sceneries don't work. Not with Flight Sim 2020. There's too much availability to make airports look so good without too much effort, if I can put it that way. Lighting's okay in the dusk time, but it could be better. The buildings, it's shocking how many of them just aren't lit up, even basically. And simple things, you know, like the control tower there is with the highest point on the airport, and it should have a red light on top. And the VIP building, a very important part of the airport, because they get a lot of VIPs in Africa. I know I've dealt with them when I was working at in airport security. Got the VIP area over here at night time or dusk is just basically invisible. But when you look around the airport environment here and the lagoons and things, much more could have been done. My advice, and it's my opinion only, you may think differently, but my advice to Fsdg is to, for Flight Sim 2020 at least, is to dump FS Lite. Don't bother with it at all. If you're going to do an airport, do it reasonably good. ACCRA is brilliant, I like it a lot. It's not the greatest, but it does work, and it works really well. If you look at my review, I'll post a link up to it. But this airport also is in a nice location, yet another airport in North Africa to fly into, and really so much could have been done so much better. Probably at the end of it all, do I think it's worth the price? No, actually I don't. I think it's worth about €8, not 11 or 12. It's currently listed for €11.90. I think it's worth about 8. You look at other airports that have been done similar to this, some of them are as low as €6. But I think €11.90, just under €12, is a bit expensive for an airport that's been done like this, the so-called Lite airport. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, I tend to balance my scenery reviews. You have to look at the positive as well as the negative. There's a lot that's not very good about this, because I tend to think that the light sceneries just don't work. But there's also a lot of positives. You've got everything you need here. The airport sits in a nice location. They've modelled the buildings accurately, even though they're not lit in some places. And little things like we've got the fire station down there, but got no fire engines in it. and they've got the cargo centre, but the building is just a box. These are the things that I think really should have been done with more attention to detail. However, it's yet another nice scenery, and if you want to pay the price, it's a nice airport. And once again, a quick disclaimer, I bought it along with ACCRA on the same day. I wasn't given it to review freely, so my opinion is purely based on what I see. But I will fly into this airport because again, the location is really nice, and you've got yet another African scenery, so you can start to do airline services between various points on the African continent now in a way that possibly you couldn't before. And Asobo, Microsoft, come on, get your finger out. World Update 9, let's do something in Africa. It's crying out for some development, although to be honest it looks really good. One quick thing here, I did do a flight from Lagos into Accra. Did it the other day, and I've recorded it, so that will be going up this week, and I give you an idea of what the coastline looks like when you fly westbound along the southern African coast towards Accra. So there you go, that's another scenery review wrapped up. Not quite the greatest scenery in the world, and as I said, this is the FS Lite sceneries I think work really well for P3D and FSX, and the prices aren't too bad there. But this I think is overpriced and seriously underdeveloped, and light sceneries for me just don't work. Given the options and the things that are available in Flight Sim 2020, this is a bit of a letdown for me. But again, that's just my opinion. If you think it's different, then by all means say things in the comments, I'll respond to them. But there you go. So this is Lee, Virtual Airline Pilot. Thank you for being with me, wrapping up another review of another scenery by the Flight Sim Development Group. I will put the details up before we finish this review. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope this has been useful, and I hope you can understand the way I feel about it. You may feel different, and you're entitled to feel that way. But at the end of the day, I've got this scenery, and the airport's been enhanced and updated, and we're going to fly in here. So thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. This is Lee saying bye for now. Have a great week. Bye bye now.